A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back once again to video games that are totally awesome. So for this particular instance, let's go on ahead and talk about a couple of things that are related to the Gran Turismo series. I can't exactly be certain about Gran Turismo as much as I had talked about many other game series in the past, old and new. But that's mostly because I'm a bit impartial when it comes to the series. I've never played the older games. I've mostly been known for the newer games. 5, 6, Sport, and 7. That's mostly what I've gotten into, and that's so far all that I've played through. 4 different games within the span of about 13 years. So I feel like that it's appropriate that we do get to talk about the first grassroots in the Gran Turismo series that I first got into, which was 2010 Gran Turismo 5. So, with Gran Turismo 5, we could say that it's a lot of the same old stuff that we'd expect from Gran Turismo entirely. The combination of Sony and Polyphony Digital had given us the unique driving simulator, and Gran Turismo is the proclaimed real driving simulator. And while it's agreeable on most standards, there have been other games that have also tried to give us the unique feeling of driving simulators. There's F1, for instance, which was mostly made by Codemasters, as well as Project Cars, which was also made possible thanks to Codemasters. But you could say that at the same time that Sony and Polyphony Digital, Codemasters, and possibly others have been able to create their own driving simulators, whatever you might think of it, Gran Turismo was truly the one that really brought a lot of people together. And the fact that it got so popular, it even made a movie in 2023. But hey, I already covered that topic. It was an entirely different thing for me to talk about. But back to the video gaming aspects of Gran Turismo, the ones that truly preceded all other such media. Gran Turismo 5, like many of the other newer games, has worked on a series of licenses, going down from the lower grade licenses which focused on lighter cars and weaker cars, as some might put it, some simple hatchbacks, convertible tops, roadsters, sedans, and even some other vehicles would mostly be picked out. As you progress further into the game, going through some more driving school lessons, as well as mastery over various driving techniques, as well as lots of racing maneuvers, including handling of the curves, then your upgrades on your license will consist of going through License D, License C, License B, License A, License GT. This is the kind of system that has carried over into some other games, including said mentioned Project Cars. But let's not forget that Gran Turismo was truly the one that started it all. And the idea of going from smaller licenses to higher level licenses, it's something that has been deemed ingenious by most people. Because getting to start from a certain point, all the way to a more professional and expert level point, does allow for anybody to become a driver, regardless of the professionality. Regardless of whether they want to focus on simple Sunday drive races or go all the way up to the likes of the Red Bull X series. Yeah, basically, it was by this point that Gran Turismo's Red Bull racing program had first been initiated, and it would actually carry over to some of the sequels, but not exactly all of them. In any case though, Gran Turismo 5 did introduce a lot of pretty unique pieces in racing history. This was the title, after all, in which that tons of auto marks, Mitsubishi, Buick, Toyota, Ferrari, and many others, would all become playable cars. Depending on the in-game currency that you get, the money that's generated from winning races, as well as completing other said tasks, including some special programs. You don't really just get the unique treatment of the Red Bull X series, Formula One cars with crazy movements. I mean, this was certainly something. I'd say it probably does a lot better in Part 6 because I have played it way more often then. And I probably will admit, I haven't really played through Gran Turismo 5 all that much in comparison to Part 6. But hey, any way you look at it, there are plenty of familiar tracks out there. Plenty of familiar locations to visit, plenty of familiar models to choose from, and plenty of different extras that you can work off of just as well, other than a simple driving career that you'd pursue in the real driving simulator. The very real driving simulator. So I guess with that in mind, I probably won't have much more to say about it, unfortunately. But at the same time though, this was still worthy of an entry in the series. It carried over, a few years would pass before a sequel would come out, 6. And well, since then we could say that Gran Turismo has been through a lot. But I will talk a bit more about 6 and 7 in the future. So for Part 5, knowing from what I've experienced in this game and knowing from all the time I've spent on the game, which wasn't very much unfortunately, I'm probably only going to give it a somewhat medial, but still effective, 6.8 out of 10.1. I feel like that if I played at it for a bit longer, then maybe the scoring would be a lot higher. But unfortunately, there just wasn't a lot for me to summarize on. And more importantly, not much for me to talk about. So, I'll be back later with the likes of Part 6 and 7 and their own adjacent reviews. But until that happens, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow me wherever you can find me, and stay on the Hollywood side for more.